Sorry if I seem a little upset today. I just can't understand why so many of my people keep complaining. Why don't they trust God? Don't they remember the incredible things He's done for us since we left Egypt? The Red Sea, manna and quail, and winning a big battle, and the most important thing of all. Oh wait, I forgot. You weren't there, were you? You don't know how we even escaped from Egypt. Well, let me tell you what happened. My people had been captives in Egypt for more than 400 years. And those last years were no picnic. Pharaoh was awful. He worked us so hard and he beat us. It was horrible. God told me to ask Pharaoh to let us go so we could worship God the right way. But that made Pharaoh even more angry and mean. Finally, God said He would rescue us. First, He sent 9 plagues to Egypt. Really bad things like locusts and frogs and water turning to blood. Gross. But they only happened to the Egyptians, not to us. And then God sent one last plague. This plague was really serious. God warned that if Pharaoh wouldn't let us go, the firstborn sons in Egypt would die, from Pharaoh's son to the lowest Israelite's son. But God said that none of our children would be harmed. God said there would be crying all over Egypt as the Egyptians realized their children were dead. But our houses, it would be quiet. The angel of death would pass right over our houses. You know, as Israelites, we worship God by sacrificing animals to Him. And God said to have each Israelite family kill one perfect lamb and roast the meat. God said to paint the blood of the lamb over the door of each of our homes so that the angel of death would know to pass over without harming our children. I'll tell you, we were praying for our families that night as we painted our door frames with blood. Death came over Egypt that we would need to be ready to leave in a hurry. We wouldn't have time to pack or even cook a complete meal. In fact, He told us to eat unleavened bread, which is bread that hasn't had time to rise. Have you ever made bread? It's all soft and squishy. Well, unleavened bread doesn't do that because it doesn't have time to rise. That night felt like the longest night in history. It seemed to last forever. Close your eyes and wait with me, just as we waited that night. If it seems like waiting forever, that's how we felt too. Keep your eyes closed as I tell you the rest of the story. We waited and waited in silence for the angel of death to come over Egypt. And right at midnight, we heard what sounded like a loud wind pass over our houses. Then in the distance, we heard a father cry out. And then a mother scream. Soon it seemed like all of Egypt was filled with crying and screaming. But in our houses, the Israelite houses, not even a dog barked. It was just as God had promised. The angel of death had passed over our houses. All of a sudden, an order came from Pharaoh to have us leave Egypt right away. God rescued us that very night. In fact, that's when we headed to the Red Sea, remember? What an incredible rescue. God saved us that night, a night we call Passover, to remember how the angel of death passed over our houses. Tonight, we talked a lot about the blood of a perfect lamb. And as you go through Wilderness Escape, keep listening for more about a perfect lamb. I have a feeling you'll be hearing more.
Time to make a bracelet. You should find beads in your bag.